Coming up tonight on Primetime Local News, we cover the opening night of the Heavy Oil Show. And we look at the Lloyd Comp Barons football team. Plus the return of our weekly segment, Beyond the Classroom.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Callan Dunlop. Thanks for joining us. Both premiers as well as the mayor were present at the Heavy Oil Show today. Our Lane Hoffert spoke with them to find out about their upcoming plans as well as their pending re-elections.
The Lloydminster Heavy Oil Show is well underway today, with both Premier Danielle Smith of Alberta and Premier Scott Moe of Saskatchewan speaking at a panel during lunchtime. After the panel concluded, both premiers, as well as Mayor Gerald Albers, met with the media to discuss the Heavy Oil Show as well as other issues.
When you see the innovation that's coming forward from the industry, the innovation that not only is providing us the opportunity to increase production, but providing us the opportunity to produce even a cleaner product today and into the future. It's quite encouraging, I hope, for all of those in the industry. It's encouraging for me.
The months ahead will include both the Lloydminster municipal and Saskatchewan provincial elections. Lloydminster Mayor Gerald Albers and Premier Scott Moe are both seeking re-election and believe that if they are both elected, it will make their plans for the future of the city and province easier to execute.
I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Premier Moe's facing an election in October. Myself and my council are facing an election in November. We're looking forward to hopefully January to have a conversation with two premiers, two cabinets here in Lloydminster as early as hopefully January, February, as I look back at both of these folks and hope we can pull that off.
Post-election, if the faces are the same, there's a commitment on all of us that we would like to meet again to talk about how we would work so that, because if I have a 3-year runway and the mayor and the premier have another 4-year runway, we have a lot of stability to be able to sort through some of these issues.
Along with the excitement of having both premiers in Lloydminster, the Heavy Oil Show has many more exciting events planned for tomorrow. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News.
There were various guest speakers last night at the Lloyd X to help kick off the Heavy Oil Show. Some of the speakers included Mayor Gerald Albers, as well as Alberta and Saskatchewan Premiers Danielle Smith and Scott Moe, and Cenovus Energy's Head of Corporate Development and Sustainability, Jeff Lawson.
Cenovus, through Husky, has been in this community for 75 years. It's an incredibly important part of our asset base. And we have 1,300 people working here, and it feels like we're part of the community, and we have been forever. So to come here and support the oil show just feels like coming home.
Lawson is excited to be part of the Heavy Oil Show as he feels that Cenovus Energy is an important part of what makes Lloydminster a thriving community. The company has made contributions to the city, including being an integral part of the creation of the Cenovus Energy Hub.
Hockey rink, event center for the community. My kid is a hockey player, and the mayor asked if he's going to come play in Lloyd, and I'd love to convince him to come play for the Bobcats, so there's a personal connection. But more so, it's like looking at the community and the impact we can make here and how good this community is to us. It's just a chance for us to give something back, and we're glad we're doing it.
The biannual Lloydminster Heavy Oil Show will continue until tomorrow at 9 p.m. A teacher from Duclos School in Bonnyville has been charged with sexual offenses following an investigation by RCMP. Several parents contacted police after concerns were raised regarding inappropriate contact between a student and teacher. Officers were advised that a teacher had allegedly sexually assaulted a student at the end of August, then paid the student money, hoping they would not disclose the incident. RCMP have charged 35-year-old Janelle Arnold from Bonnyville with sexual assault and sexual interference. She appeared before a justice of the peace and was released with conditions. The next court date is October 1st. The victim is not a current student of Duclos School or Janelle Arnold. RCMP are offering their support and encourage anyone who may have been a victim to come forward. Summertime is coming to a close, and with that, schools are coming back for another school year. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we take a look at the youth who are gearing up for school themselves. Previously held at Bar Colony, Jack Kemp School is fully engaged in junior kindergarten, a preschool environment for your children to get ready for when they inevitably end up in grade school.
It's a wonderful opportunity for 4-year-olds to come and engage in lots of social time, open-ended play, so lots of role playing and dramatic play, usually centered around a theme, whatever we're learning about, so they can use their imaginations and just make things come alive.
Any children partaking in junior kindergarten get firsthand exposure of many skills they will be using for the rest of their lives.
Something else that is weaved throughout the day is opportunity for movement. So kids are using their big body movements, their arms and their legs, and lots of different locomotor motions also, and fine motor. So today while you're here, the kids will be engaged in 3 different fine motor activities and also in some dramatic play. Despite being in its first year at the school, the program is off to a great start. In the past, I have supported teachers and kids in the early years, but this is actually my first time teaching, and after 1 week, I can say I'm really loving it. For those interested in enrolling their children, they can apply on Jack Kemp's website or by calling the school directly. And that's all for this week's edition of Beyond the Classroom.
At Lakeland College, our students go beyond the classroom for immersive, hands-on learning experiences. It's about experiencing the real world.
As we get further and further into September, it's getting just a bit cooler as we get further along.
Yeah, definitely. You can kind of tell, it's starting to be that fall weather.
Especially in the mornings.
Oh, yeah. Especially in the mornings. Yeah. You want to wear a coat now when you're going outside, otherwise you'll be a little bit chilly. Grab your bunny hug. But yeah, it's still relatively nice, throughout the day. It's in those kind of lower 20s now rather than the higher 20s and even the 30s that we were seeing earlier in the month and the month previous there. It's and looks like a beautiful day out today in Lloydminster here. We got a few clouds, 37 km/h winds, so the wind is picking up a little bit out there, but 20 degrees, so it's around room temperature. Still a nice day out, as the day progresses, of course. It'll cool off, and in the morning it'll be a little bit cooler, but still the middle of the day, the important part, is still warm weather that we're enjoying. You can see throughout the region, everywhere is kind of cooling off. Lac La Biche and Edmonton, 18 degrees, as well as St. Paul there. Bonnyville's cooled down to 17 degrees. Cold Lake and Vegreville, 19 degrees. And Wainwright and Provost are 20, and Marwayne and Vermilion are the warmest there, 21 degrees. Now, over in Saskatchewan, it's the same story. You can see Pierceland and Meadow Lake, as well as Maidstone there, are 19 degrees. Green Lake is 18 degrees. St. Walburg is 17. Isla Cross up there and Macklin down there, 21 degrees. And North Battleford is 20 degrees. Now, tonight in North Battleford, it's going to get down to 10 degrees, so it'll be cut in half there. 90% chance of precipitation. It'll be cloudy and breezy. A couple of showers, mainly later on in the night, but nothing wrong with getting that moisture in the ground. 22 km/h winds, so it'll be blowing around a little bit, but not as bad as it's blowing around here now. Just about as fast as you would be driving on your quad. So tomorrow in North Battleford, the rain will continue. It'll be a cooler 17 degrees. It'll be breezy in the morning and cloudy and cooler. Then the showers will be mainly later. 70% chance of precipitation, and that wind is going to stay at 20 km/h. Now, tonight's forecast in Cold Lake, they're getting some rain too. Raining cats and dogs everywhere. 9 degrees there. Cloudy with a shower and spots later. 40% chance of precipitation and a little bit less windy there, 17 km/h. Now, tomorrow in Cold Lake, similar story, cooler with some occasional rain, 13 degrees, 84% chance, and that wind is staying the same. Now, tonight in Lloydminster, we can expect it to be cloudy, a couple of showers there, 60% chance of precipitation. The wind is going to die down a little bit, but it will be 9 degrees here in Lloyd. Now, tomorrow, it'll start 6 a.m. The showers will be continuing there, 9 degrees. At noon, it'll warm up to 12 with some intermittent clouds.
Those will stay and it'll warm up even more at 6 p.m. At midnight, it will be rainy and 11 degrees. Now your 3-day forecast, there will be rain on Thursday and Friday. Thursday a high of 14, Friday a high of 13, and Saturday will be a nice high of 20. We'll have more news after the break.
The Lloydminster Comp's senior Barons football team is ready to begin their second season in the Northern Saskatchewan Football League starting this weekend. Our Thomas Wildman has more with a preview of the team.
The Barons had 2 preseason games, and although they didn't come away with any wins, the team feels confident heading into the regular season.
You know, I'm feeling good about the season. Like, even after the 2 losses, like the spirits are high in practice, you know, the energy's up, you know, everybody's like focusing on the next week and, you know, on the regular season and all that. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
The team has a strong core of grade 12 players with an influx of youth with grade 10s, and the veterans are helping these players adjust to high school football.
I mean, I think us as seniors, all of us grade 12s, we kind of agree to accomplish a culture. We want everyone to know what's like to be a Baron, to be a part of this team, and what you have to do to, I guess, be part of the team and have that respect for the team and the program. So then, I guess, for years to come, it's that same kind of culture.
The Barons will start the NSFL on the road against the Martensville Royals.
So the focus is on the process, not so much the result, but the process, so how we do things. So making sure that we're focused, making sure that we're giving 100% effort, making sure that we're getting better every day. So of course, we're focused on Martensville and we want to be successful against Martensville, but that has to do with how we practice. And so making sure they're bringing intensity, making sure that they're learning from their mistakes, and making sure that us as coaches are coaching as hard as we can.
Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
The annual Terry Fox Run is coming up this upcoming weekend. Our Abby St. John found out more about the local run and how people can still get involved.
I'm very happy to be joined in studio today by Heather Clagis. She is the co-organizer for this year's annual Terry Fox Run. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, the Terry Fox Run is a huge importance in Canadian history, and it still carries on today. It is the 44th annual Terry Fox Run that's taking place this weekend. Now, you are one of the organizers, and you have been for several years now. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what people can expect from Lloyd. It's taking place all over Canada, but here in Lloyd, it's no different. So for first-time attendees kind of wanting to test out the water, see what it is, what can they expect from our run here in Lloyd?
Well, here in Lloydminster, we're so fortunate to have Bud Miller Park. So that's where we're going to be hosting the run once again this year. And one of the reasons that it works so well is because they have different trail systems throughout the park. So if you're somebody who wants to stay completely on those paved trails, we'll set out a route so that you can stay on those paved trails. If you're somebody who likes to go kind of a little bit further into the park and some of the gravel trails, which are really nice to see the scenery, we've got a 5K route that goes through that as well. So, and that's the other great part about the Terry Fox Run. If you want to run 5K, you can. If you want to walk 5K, you can. If you want to walk for 2.5K, you can. And last year we had a number of people who came as a family, and the kids would be on the bikes and mom and dad would run. So there's so many different ways that people are welcome to participate. And I also have noticed recently that you see more people out on those scooters. So if you want to bring the kids of a scooter, they want to do the run that way on the paved trails, then they're welcome to do that this year as well. But we like to make it accessible, and we like to provide those options. So maybe you only want to walk 1K. That's fine. You're welcome to join us. If you want to do 2.5K, you're welcome to join us. If you want to take on that challenge of 5K, please come out and join us. And registration that morning will start at 9 a.m. And you're going to see us set up kind of near the park center and where the Canada flag is. That's usually where we set up our registration table. So you just head there. We've got great volunteers. They'll help you get all signed in and registered. And then we'll get the run underway at about 10 a.m. And we like to do a bit of a warm-up before we send people out on the run. And yeah, that's kind of what people can expect. And also, you can bring cash that day. Or if you've already registered online and you have a number of donations online, then you just come to the registration table, you let us know that, you sign in, and then we'll get you set for the run.
Yes, that's fantastic. And it seems that you guys have a great turnout each year. And like you said, you don't just have to run. It's not just a run.
Exactly.
It's easy to call it that because
Yes,
it's a
yeah.
easy way. But you can really, as long as you're participating, you are taking part and you are making a difference just by showing up, which is incredible. Now, even going off of last year, you guys raised $10,000, which is incredible. For this year, is there a goal in mind, or are you kind of wanting to match that goal, kind of?
So we set our goal at $10,700 this year, and we're very excited because we just checked online and we're just over 50% of that goal. So that's really encouraging to see. And there's a number of people in our community that are really dedicated to this, like Louis DeCock has been doing the Terry Fox Run for a number of years. So it's great to see him back, and he's always somebody who raises quite a few funds. And also the Lloydminster firefighters. They put together a team, and last year they were one of the top fundraising teams in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. So we're very excited that they're back again this year as well to support. And also, there's no minimum amount that you need to fundraise to take part. So everybody's welcome. And when you come out, you are also a sign of hope for people who are facing cancer. And unfortunately, so many people know somebody who has fought cancer. So when you come out, you're providing that hope, and that's so important as well.
Yes, and this community has a fantastic way of showing up when needed. And I mean, Terry Fox Run is so engrossed into Canadian history and our day-to-day lives. So it's incredible that we have something like this, but our community here in Lloyd, they know how to come together for a good cause, which is one of the most spectacular things about this city. Now, for registration, how can they do so online or in person? What is that process like?
So if you're registering online, it's terryfox.org, and then you can search for the run site. So just search Lloydminster and ours should come up. And then there's just a few questions that you have to answer, and then you get signed up and you're good to go. And if you don't want to register online, that's completely fine. You can just come see us the morning of the run, and we've got some great volunteers that will help you go through all the paperwork, and then you'll be registered and you'll be good to go. So you've got a couple different options.
Wonderful. And finally, just so people know when, where, and what times is this run taking place this weekend?
Sunday, September the 15th, out at Bud Miller Park. Registration will open at 9, and the run or the walk, however you choose to participate, that's going to get underway at 10 a.m. And we usually find that most people are back from their run between 11 and 11:30, and then there's going to be a few snacks that are going to be available after your run, and also you can pick up a sticker with the year on it so that you can show that you've completed the run this year, and there's a few other things as well. So that's kind of how the morning will run, and we hope we're going to have some great weather because we do this run rain or shine, so hopefully the weather will be on our side.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I think the sun should be shining, and that will definitely be on your side. So thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we reach that goal of $10,700.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
It's now time to look at your adorable animals in our pet picks of the day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
It can be difficult for children transitioning in between two homes when their parents are separating or divorcing. Stacey Comer has more on how to make this easier for those involved.
We are back with Stephanie Dobson again this week for another episode of Healthy Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie is a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hankin Divorce Law and Mediation offices in Lloydminster and Edmonton. Stephanie, thanks as always for joining me once again.
Thanks, Stacey, for having me.
Well, this week we're going to be talking about transitions, and it's never an easy time for anybody going through separation and divorce. And so the first thing I'd like to get you to explain to me is, what is a transition in the context of separation and divorce?
Yeah, good question. So, Stacy, this topic is about children being transported from one home to the other home, or from one parent to the other parent when the children live in two homes after they're separated or divorced. So some people call it an exchange or a transition, or swapping the children. There's many different words for it. I like the word transition because it sounds much more human than an exchange sounds more like a pawn. So there's so many things that can go well and things that can go poorly. So I thought today we'd talk about ways to make these transitions as positive as possible for the children.
And what are some ways that these transitions occur?
Well, here's some examples for parents. So there's several ways, of course, that children can be transported. One, I've got 4 ideas here. So the first one is to meet at the midpoint. So it's usually that's somewhere neutral in location, like a Tim Hortons or a McDonald's parking lot. And this can be really helpful if there's conflict between the parents, because of course, having the location be more public, it often reduces the opportunities for conflict. Secondly, one parent drops off at the other parent's home. So this would be very common, especially on a weekend. But if this option is selected, I often recommend that the parent who's starting their parenting time pick up the children at the designated time so they can be assured that the other parent isn't delayed. Children can travel by themselves. Of course, this has to be age appropriate. So when the parents live really close by, maybe the kids can walk or bike between the homes when it's not wintertime. If the parents live long distance and if maybe there's a plane ride involved, the kids can maybe fly on their own or as unaccompanied minors if it's appropriate. And the fourth way is to drop off at a neutral location. So this is especially helpful if the children have hard time with transitions between the homes. So you might want to drop off at school or an extracurricular activity, and then the other parent will pick up at the end of that school or extracurricular activity.
So how can parents provide the best transition possible for kids?
Well, here's a few strategies. So first is to establish really clear communication, maintaining really open lines of communication between the parents, and creating a detailed parenting plan between the parents so that there's no misunderstandings. The more conflict equals the more detail that you should have in your parenting plan. Using a neutral location can be really helpful. So we talked earlier about the Tim Hortons parking lot. Being consistent, so sticking to established schedules as much as possible and staying positive can really be helpful. Involving the children, so if it's age appropriate, allow the children to have a say in their schedule and preferences if you feel that that's appropriate. And really avoid conflict during exchanges. So those 4 options that we gave earlier, the more conflict that there is, the more I recommend those neutral locations.
So what are some tips for parents rather after they get their kids following a transition?
Well, the first and maybe the best tip I would give is to create a really warm welcome. So really greet your children warmly, lovingly, and provide that calm routine environment when your children get home. Keep their items really organized. So really when they get home, they feel calm, they feel like they can go to their bedroom, they know exactly where everything is. And even in trying to engage your children in some activities that your children enjoy right at the beginning, because that helps with that transition, is really to get their mind off of the fact that they're in a new location and to limit the stress. So avoid scheduling significant events right after an exchange. So maybe an activity at home, something like that. And then the last thing is really to establish some open communication. So figure out, how did their time go at the other parent's home, listen to them non-judgmentally, feel happy for them for whatever they experienced at the other home, and really try to talk to them about what they might want to do as they're transitioning into your home.
All right, Stephanie, well, good information once again, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back to chat again next week.
Thanks, Stacey.
Coming up after the break, our Lane Hoffert will have one more look at our evening weather forecast.
Hello and welcome back for another look at your weather. Lloydminster, still a lovely day out there, 20 degrees, a little bit of clouds, and 33 kilometer-an-hour winds. So it is a little bit windy and a little bit cloudy out there, but it's not too cool. Still a good day out in Lloyd here. Now, throughout the region, you can see it's actually Lloyd's pretty well the warmest in this kind of central region here. Athabasca and Whitecourt are 17 degrees. Edson and Jasper 16 degrees. Rocky Mountain House 14. Red Deer 15. Edmonton 19. And Cold Lake 18. Now, over in the Saskatchewan side, it's a little bit warmer there. North Battleford and Saskatoon 20 degrees. Prince Albert 21. And Meadow Lake and Melfort are 19 degrees. Now, in the northern area there of Saskatchewan, Uranium City is 14, Stony Rapids 15, Wollaston Lake and the Losh as well as Buffalo Narrows are 18 degrees. South End Reindeer is 19 degrees and Flin Flon is 20. Now in northern Alberta, Fort Chippewa 16 degrees, Slave Lake and Grand Prairie 18 degrees, High Level 19 degrees and Peace River is 20 and Fort McMurray 21 degrees. Now down south, Banff is really cooled off there, just 10 degrees. And Calgary is 11 degrees. Coronation there 19, Medicine Hat 22, and Lethbridge 15 degrees. Now over in Saskatchewan there, Kindersley and Swift Current are 19 degrees. Moose Jaw is 18 degrees. And Yorkton, Regina, and Estevan are all sitting at 17 degrees. So fall is now fallen, it looks like here. North Battleford, 10 degrees tonight in North Battleford. Cloudy and breezy with a couple of showers, mainly later on in the night, a 90% chance of precipitation. So you're really going to want that umbrella if you're going out for a walk tonight. 22 kilometer-an-hour wind, so it'll be blowing around a little bit. I imagine all the rain and that little bit of wind might not make it the most pleasant night to go for a walk, but do what you want to do, I guess. Now, tonight in Cold Lake, it's looking about the same there, 40% chance of precipitation, cloudy with shower and spots late, 17 kilometer-an-hour winds, and a low of 19 degrees. Now in Lloydminster, the same story once again, 9 degrees there, cloudy with a couple of showers later on, 60% chance of precipitation, and 17 kilometer-an-hour winds. Now let's take a look at your travel forecast. You can see a lot of the same kind of going on here. Meadow Lake, Bonnyville, and Paradise Hill, 9 degrees. Provost and Isle Across, 11 degrees there. All of them with varying degrees of chances of raining. But in the words of Eddie Rabbit, I love a rainy night. You can see here, Mirnam, 8 degrees. Pierceland and Wainwright and Calgary, all 9 degrees. And Unity is the warmest there at 10 degrees. Now the 7-day forecast, you can see a lot of rain coming up throughout the week, and it's going to stay in those kind of higher teens and lower 20s temperatures.
Yeah, we definitely do have some rain to look forward towards there, but after that, though, the sun is coming out, and we are going to have a quite nice next week, so that's good to look forward to.
Absolutely. It looks like, yeah, we're getting closer to fall.
Yeah, that we are. And that is all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great night.